They say wise men speak because they have something to say.
Yeah, they also say fools speak because they have to say something.
Well,
here we are.
Yeah, you bit that one.
Well,
right.
well.
Relax. Shoot it.
Welcome back. Episode 8.
Is it 8?
It's 8.
Ocho. What's going on, man?
Wow. You know, this is becoming a thing where, every couple of weeks we get to show up, get to see my bro, get to hang out in the studio, and get to get connected over some content, you know?
Yup, cup of tea and good conversation for me. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you've brought a different mug every time.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like that.
So what's the significance of the tea, the mug, and all the stuff?
Well, the tea is just, something that I use different types of teas for different types of things, but I drink tea every day. Yeah. If time permits, wherever I'm at, I will have some tea at certain times.
Yeah.
The mugs that I have are all things that have been significant to me, either from childhood or like things that provoked my interest at different times in my life.
I see this Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I'm like I'm a memorabilia, fan, collectible kind of guy. Again, I drive my lady crazy with that stuff. With the type of stuff that I bring home, and if I knew that it didn't drive her crazy, there was a lot more that I would bring home.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm off the chain like that.
So
she
you're
helps,
like the kind of guy that would need a storage unit at some point to store all the stuff that you got because you've been collecting for years and years and years.
Yeah, I try not to be that OD with it.
Is that the level? Like the storage unit level? Like
I'm not there. And I don't want to be there. So my grandfather was a hoarder.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a pack rat, bro. So it's like
I've seen that.
Yeah, I don't want to like have to like climb over stuff, squeeze through anywhere to just try to
walk through the cave of boxes.
Try to get simple access to something. You know what I'm saying?
So George Foreman, man.
Yeah. Before we hit on George, though, we definitely gonna hit on George. I would like to give a shout out to somebody. This organization, this shirt that I'm wearing right here is Tap Out Cancer. Shout out Tap Out Cancer.
Shout out.
What's
Tap Out Cancer?
Tap Out Cancer is a nonprofit organization that throws jiu-jitsu tournaments all over the country, and they do it for cancer awareness, cancer research, and stuff like that. They give their money to those causes, and I really appreciate that.
So it's purpose-based business.
Purpose-based business, but like, especially in a world of sports combat where everybody's a dog. It's a dog-eat-dog world more than a lot of others.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attitude, and there's a lot of, everybody, it's life. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to make money and do different things in terms of the events and stuff like that. Not everyone. These people are really nice. They treat you right,
So what I heard was it's a fight. When you're, you go in the ring, say dog eat dog kind of thing, you mean it's like it's a fight, just like a fight for your life.
Yeah, well, in jiu-jitsu, when you're competing, it's like who can control the other person, or who can get another person into a submission fast enough, like get something to the point where it's about to break so that the other person taps, or until the point that the other person's about to go to sleep. Like, if it weren't on the mat, if we were out on the streets, it would be a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you talked about in the past, I don't know if you've done it on camera yet, but about every time that you're submitted, you would consider it like a life.
Yeah. I definitely hold that philosophy that, every time you tap, you die.
Yeah.
And it's a symbolic death. And every time you die, if you understand that your ego should probably die just a little bit more with it.
That's what, yeah.
And after such a long time of doing it, you know, I'm a brown belt. I've competed at all belts. I've done very well at all belts except brown belt, because it's everybody's
higher
good,
level, man.
right?
Yeah.
And like I don't care as much about losing.
Yeah.
Because I understand it's like, hey, that was that guy's day today, you know, and we all have our days, and it's all a part of the balance. And like, we try to, well, some of us, you know, in tradition, we with that understanding try to allow as much of our ego to die as humanly possible. And oftentimes in like my regular, like day-to-day life, people that are close to me often don't understand that there's really things that I really do not care about. I just don't, because I've let go of so much. And like, when I say that, meaning like there's things that people think you care about more, and they're like trying to like make you feel better about something and like get into a conversation and all that. And you're just like, bro, I really, you don't want to say it, but you're like,
I know you're trying to be supportive, but the thing that you're thinking is so, I value so much, is not a big value like that. It's just
certain stuff
that
they think that you trip off, that you're like, dude, like, I'm so past that.
You say your ego, the lives, every time you're submitted, it's like a piece of your life, and that translates to a piece of your ego going away. And these people like Tap Out Cancer, and you know, people that are fighting a battle for their life with cancer.
Yeah, in my opinion, they get it, and so that's why I support that organization. You know, and again, like, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's been in the United States for so long now.
How long has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu been here
in America?
Yeah,
man, at least 40 years, right?
Wow,
probably longer than that. But you know, that prior to that being there was judo, which Waza and Nevaza, you know, has ground. That's where jiu-jitsu is born from. It's judo. It derives from judo, and then the ground part of judo went into Japanese jiu-jitsu, and then it made its way to Brazil, and here we are today, right? Wow. But on its journey in America, because America's America, right? Like, the philosophy is Western, right? So with that being said, there's most of these guys no longer carry on traditions in terms of how they teach and the etiquette of their schools, and a lot of this.
It's evolved.
If that's what you want to say, sure.
Well, it's evolved. Yeah. Everything evolves.
Yeah, but like,
just like our last,
some things not for the better.
Well,
you know,
understood. Just like our last episode where we talked about the swastika, and over time, it was really only the last 100 years or so.
Its significance all throughout history up until a certain point in time, right?
Yeah. And so this is something that's evolving. Wow, that's interesting. I'm glad we got to like learn a little bit about Tap Out Cancer, and I definitely see that related to fighting for your life is like a different type of battle, and you know, it's something that I see in different people. Everybody has a different fight, you know, but I do believe everybody is fighting some kind of fight.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
And with that being said, I would like to take this time to send some love, good vibes, and prayers out to the people who just suffered an earthquake in Thailand and Myanmar. They just had a 7.7 earthquake.
Yeah, and you told me about that. I still didn't know until you just said.
Yeah, it's 7.7 that's big scale wise. I mean, you know, we were in the 7.2 when we were kids, and that was quite dramatic. And in the world, like, I haven't heard many bigger than 7.7, so it's a big deal. And again, our prayers from the Gambler and the Guardian go out to those people, man. You know, they need it.
Yeah, we got prayers, and also on fighting. This last week we just lost one of the best fighters ever in history.
Yeah, one of the top 10 heavyweights in history.
and not just a fighter, but a personality.
This man was a cultural icon.
Cultural
icon, right?
I mean, minister. He served the people.
Inventor.
Yeah. Yeah.
His product when we were growing up was in damn near every house you walked into.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He's been and what he lives is it 76 years?
Yeah, he lived to be 76 years old. We're talking about Big George Foreman, man. Big George Foreman, man. He was a bad, bad man. I remember watching him fight when I was a kid. He was like
against Evander Holyfield. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
I was with my pops and my brother and my Papa Frank.
Yeah.
And I got to see, I mean, in San Francisco. And Evander, he beat him.
He had
you know what I mean?
He had a unique style of boxing, though. If you ever,
Foreman?
Yeah, Foreman. Like, so I'm a student of boxing. I boxed.
Yeah.
George Foreman had this unique style of boxing that they call a modified tie system, where everybody else holds their hands, you know, one protecting here and one in the front of you, right?
Yeah.
George would do that, but when he knew he was going to be defensive, George would put his arms up like this.
And it's like, you're not going to get through
and
this.
He had this system. You know, some stuff would slip through, but again, George was a tank.
He was big.
Only one time in George Foreman's career was he knocked out.
Only once.
By who?
Muhammad Ali.
The greatest.
The greatest.
Okay, so it's like that says a lot about him. That makes him one of the greatest as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, he fought how many fights?
Oh yeah, he had like 81 fights.
81 fights.
81 fights. And that's, you know, we're talking professional fights. That's not all. This man's had, I'm sure, hundreds of fights, right? 81 fights, 76 wins, with 68 wins by knockout.
Oh, he was a brawler.
Oh nah, he was flushing stuff out. Yeah, he was putting them down.
Well, he's so big. How much did he weigh, man? It says he's 6'3", says 78-inch reach. Oof. But like, how much did he really weigh? I remember seeing the movie, and it was like he got big when he became a minister.
He was probably a good 250er, you know.
I think he got probably at his fighting weight. You say it was 250.
Somewhere probably between 235 and 250 at fight weight. I'm pretty sure somewhere around.
We're gonna have
there.
to check in on that.
Heavyweights actually right now. There was a time period where heavyweights were like getting smaller, but like heavyweights are getting big again, man. They got some big heavyweights, but it's just like the athleticism is missing, or they just have excellent athleticism, great size, and they just don't have the skills to pay the bills. You know, they're not quite as talented in that arena as they used to be.
Oh, but, you called it, man.
What? How much?
You said that during his it says 220 to 225 was his prime.
Yeah.
But not that he was that all the time.
Nah.
And really, he's like 260.
Yeah.
And when he got like real big, like when he was the minister and like stopped fighting and stopped training, he got over 300.
There's people that do it. I'm probably the only person that I know that does it damn near every time. That when I compete in combat sports, like almost every time I've had to go up in weight to compete, while mostly everybody else has to drop down. So
has
like
to go down.
Yeah, your walk weight is not what you fight at.
Why do you have to go up in weight?
Because my ego.
Okay.
Because
that's not the answer I expected.
Because I'm honest. I'm 6'7". I like to, you know, compete at around 220 or better, but I might walk around at anywhere between 195 to 210.
What are you right now?
Right now
you're light right now.
About 204.
204.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like I got the frame to carry it. It always goes on me evenly. It's not like it's anywhere like
yeah,
nothing's heavy. So But at this point, you know, with my age, my joints don't like it.
Extra weight.
My joints don't like it, so I'm gonna try to start competing at what I walk at.
Man,
You know.
I think that's a good idea.
But like, yeah, you can't. These guys are like, it's like, you got a guy that's walking around at 260. He comes into the ring at 225, and then you got a guy that comes in at what he walks at 260. Yeah, the guy that walks at 260 is going to be very strong. He's going to hit harder.
Yeah.
But he's going to die in the stamina and endurance department. And he's
For
not
sure.
going to have the speed either. So it's like, we got to meet each other in the middle here. And that's why these guys do this, because they want to perform at their optimal, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So George is, you know, he started out boxing at an early age,
Yeah.
you know, and he actually competed in the Olympics.
Yes, he did.
I saw some clip that it was like him saying that was the most important thing, or the being the gold medalist in the Olympics.
I mean, that means like I don't care what other titles that means at that point, that
Best
day
in the world.
that
like,
day in the
period.
world. And so there's the most illustrious, I've said this on here before, you're going to hear me say it again. The most illustrious title in the world. All the Super Bowls are cool. You know, all the NBA, all this team sports are cool, but the most illustrious title in the world is world heavyweight champion.
That's true.
There's nothing more than that. That means you're the baddest man on the planet. There's probably some out there that might be bad, but guess what? We don't know who they are. You're him.
Yeah, it's just there's all kinds of different ways that athletes compete for being a heavyweight champion. You know, back in the day, it was about boxing. When you say that, most people would relate it to boxing, but there's other disciplines in martial arts where, you know, it's a different battle.
They're all apples to oranges at this point. I mean, everyone should know at this point, and I don't know why these fans, you know, that have never laced up gloves before or got on the mat before or kicked somebody or gotten kicked, make comparisons between athletes that are in different combat sports. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, he would better up. Yeah, okay, yeah, but if he met him in the boxing ring and only was boxing, he'd be in trouble in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's always these debates that are there's really no place for them.
Well, but some of them make sense. Like, I just saw Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul. And, you know, watching that whole thing was like, Mike Tyson, if he really did what he can do, he would have actually threw the punches.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that still think that Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I get it. I understand
like,
psyops. We'll get to that later.
Oh.
This is going to be one of those episodes, you know, like where we continue pushing ourselves, you know. And, you know, starting out with George Foreman, I mean, that's what he did. You know, he went out there and he pushed himself for the better part of it, first of his life, based on being angry. Like, he was mean. Right? I mean, he had a tough childhood.
He was a hard worker.
And a hard worker.
Yeah.
And he pushed himself and had that grit and determination to be the best, to be what you just said, the heavyweight champion.
And he also had ties to the Bay Area.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah, he had ties to the Bay over on what is it? I think it's like B Street, in Jackson, right over there. In Hayward, there's an Ace Hardware that just got shut down a couple of years ago. The building's still empty; it's for lease. That it was that same Ace Hardware that was there when George Foreman was training upstairs from that Ace Hardware in Hayward, California. So, like, yeah, George had ties to the Bay, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool to have one of the greatest ever.
Yep, and the building's still there. We're gonna go see it. I'll take you over there.
That's
it has that
history right
energy.
there.
You know what I mean? It has that energy over there. And yeah, so like at this point in time in heavyweight boxing, what makes the difference to me between now and then was the level of competition. There was a whole bunch of big bad boys back then that were hard hitters, hard workers, and the standouts had to really prove it. At this point in time, I feel like the pile is thin, and like those who have something will just flow right through them. They don't have too much opposition. George had all of the opposition. He fought all of the who's of heavyweight boxing, who were also champions. He fought all of the champions.
The only one he didn't fight, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
I mean, George, and that would have been probably one of the best fights ever because they both had that killer instinct.
I don't think it would have made a good fight for George, though.
It's pretty hard to go up against Mike unless you're Jake Paul. I mean, that's back to the disciplines and the rules and how the game is, right?
Or who's signing the check, right?
Well, that's what it comes down to, right? But George was a businessman too.
Entrepreneur, again, inventor. He invented
everybody knows it.
I don't know if these kids, I don't know if this generation even knows.
Oh, for sure. They've seen them.
They still sell them, huh?
For sure. They still sell them. I still got one.
I
had multiple.
The Foreman grill was made by George Foreman, was invented by George Foreman. And he invented it, started the company, and ran it for some good years, and he sold it. And now I don't know who owns it, but yeah, shout out to George for the Foreman grill because it's like the healthiest alternative to cooking, like literally.
Yeah, it was crazy that he took like years away from the sport altogether and then came back
over
and became
a decade,
a champion again.
The oldest, he's also the oldest champion. He became champion older than anyone, and he was the oldest heavyweight champion. I believe he was
ever.
At the end of it, he was 48, right? I don't know how old.
So
yeah, he was in his high 40s. He might have been 45 or something, 40 something. He was in his high 40s when he became a heavyweight champion. When he beat Evander Holyfield to become world heavyweight champion again.
Did he beat Evander Holyfield?
Yeah, that's who he took the belt from.
Bro,
are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah. Look, if you look on his record,
where do I go here? I'm so like,
go back to the main page and scroll up, and you'll see it. It'll be like boxing record. You might have too much open. Keep going down.
Oh.
You see his professional boxing record. Closes amateur career. It'll be below that.
Okay. Amateur career.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Keep going.
Professional.
Early career.
Go.
Yep. Keep going.
Foreman.
Keep going. 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 That was Frazier. Hold on. Come back. 10. That's it right there. Yup.
Okay, in 1987, after 10 years away from the ring, Foreman surprised the boxing world by announcing a comeback at the age of 38.
Came back at 38. No, started coming back at 38, but by the time he fought Holyfield, how old was he?
Okay, so Foreman versus Cooney.
You know who Cooney
Foreman
is?
versus no.
That's the Great White Hype.
Oh, that is
Jerry Cooney, right? That's the one they thought that that was going to be Muhammad Ali. See, there's always, I don't know if everybody knows this, but there hasn't always been one. But when black fighters started getting into boxing, there was always a Great White Hype because the black dudes kind of took over because they were just dumb athletic and strong. And yeah, for the culture, right? They always tried to get the Great White Hype. They wanted to take him down. They always tried to, wanted their Great White champion. But Jerry Cooney didn't make it. He didn't do that. He didn't beat Ali for sure.
That's funny. So Foreman versus Holyfield. Foreman was given the opportunity to challenge undisputed heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield for the world title in a pay-per-view boxing event. This is all from Wikipedia, by the way.
At 42 years old.
At 42 years old, he weighed he just had a small chance of winning.
You see what he weighed, though? You see what he said he weighed?
257 pounds.
See? I tell you.
He began the contest by marching forward, absorbing several Holyfield's best combinations and occasionally landing a powerful swing of his own. Holyfield proved too tough and agile to knock down and was well ahead on points throughout the fight, but Foreman surprised many by lasting the full 12 rounds. Yeah, I mean, 257 pounds lasts that long. He lost in the end on points.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, so then it keeps on going, right? Oh, Morrison, this is another one that he lost, Tommy the Gun.
Damn, see, Tommy Morrison was another one that he had the saddest story.
Didn't he die of AIDS?
Bruh. Here's the story.
What's the story?
The story is that he had AIDS, he contracted AIDS, and then he had to vacate and give up boxing. I think he was the champion at the time, or he was real close to being the champion. He was knocking out everybody.
Yeah.
They wanted him to fight Mike. Years later, they came out and said that he didn't have AIDS.
What?
Yeah, we're going to do something on that. We're gonna look.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So they just essentially, what happened to him?
He fizzled out, man.
So he tried to still fight?
He was old by then, bro.
Oh, man. So is he still alive?
I don't think so. I'm not positive on that, but I don't think so. But Tommy the Gun was a real deal. Hey, Tommy Morrison was scaring the world. Like, he was out there. He was like a white Mike, dog. Like, he was really knocking stuff out there.
Yeah, he beat Foreman, unanimous decision.
Nah, he was beating everybody.
And then
Tommy Morrison was beating everybody, bro.
Foreman versus Moore.
Michael Moore.
Yeah. And then
what was that, Briggs? He fought Shannon Briggs. That's crazy. Shannon the Cannon. Shout out Shannon Briggs. What's up, big dog? Shannon Briggs, man. Miami, man. Real one, man. I got love for Shannon, man. I had a couple good conversations with Shannon Briggs, man. He's a cool dude, man. At the time, I met him through a dude that was managing him at the time named Milton, man. Shout out Milton. Yeah, Shannon the Cannon.
That's pretty cool, man. So you even know some boxing.
Yeah, I learned to box from a guy by the name of Louis Lagerman. What up, Lou? Shout out Louis Lagerman. Louis Lagerman at the time was Angelo Dundee's head trainer. Angelo Dundee trained Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
And that's the boxing camp I came from. That's where I learned how to box from. Shout out David Estrada. Shout out Kenny Lunkin. Shout out Attila Levin. All these guys were, boxers under Louis, under that camp, under Angelo. And all these guys were. Kenny Lunkin hit me harder than I ever been hit in my life, in my face, bro. Like, when somebody would look, I've been knocked out a couple times when, like, a couple cheap shots when I wasn't looking at somebody. Mm-hmm. Like, no straight fair win knockouts, like where I was looking at somebody squaring up. But Kenny hit me so hard in my face that it changed, like, the shape of my face. Like, there's a point in my face that bulges a little bit because this dude
changed the shape of your face?
Moved the bones in my face. He hit me so damn hard, bro. He didn't knock me out.
Show the camera how it changed your face.
I think it's on this side. It's just like, it sticks up a little bit. Can you see how it sticks up a little bit than the other side? It's like at this point. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kenny.
Definitely
Kenny Lunkin, man. And Kenny was only like, bro, at the time, hey, look, at the time I was strong, boy, hitting like a truck. Kenny must have been 175. I was sparring with Kenny. Kenny hit me so damn hard. I kept boxing with him, but I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, I knew
knock you down?
Nah. I knew he had hit me so damn hard, though, that something felt like it didn't feel before. Like, you know what I mean?
So, just kind of...
King David Estrada, I love you, brother. That's my brother. I love King David Estrada. David Estrada, man, Chi-Town. Chi-Town boy. I believe David's Mexican and Guatemalan, man. David was a boxer for a long time, did really good in boxing, man, and now is training people down in LA, man. So anybody down in LA looking for a good trainer, man, go see King David Estrada. Yup.
That's what's up. So with all the time getting hit, fighting, all this stuff, does it mess with like the way you think?
Well, thank the Lord.
Like brain.
So I learned fundamentals of boxing from Lewis, and but I did good because of my athleticism and my body, but I still didn't know how to box like I do now. Like I didn't have the polish. I didn't quite like understand how the fundamentals applied to me and what else I was doing. But I developed a system that is all about protection. That I very rarely get hit. Like since that's come into play, and it's been many years. I've sparred with many people.
So you adapted based on kind of all the stuff that was happening and how to protect yourself.
Yeah, even when I throw punches, I'm protecting myself, and it's just like trying to have everything in the right place all the time. Just like having your fundamentals that tight so that. Because what happens, it's not like you don't get hit unless you make a mistake. It's like jujitsu. You see, in jujitsu, like everything's tight, everything's good. You're not going to give anyone anything. You're not going to get tapped out until you make a mistake and somebody capitalizes on that mistake. It's the same thing in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. I think it relates, and everything relates to like the topic that we're going to be transitioning to, which is essentially how to think. Which, I mean, seems like there's so much going on in the world now that are different ways to show you how to think or train your brain or get you.
Oh, yes. You mean like a lot of like suggestive. Like, hey, this is, so that's something I said in another part of ours too. Like, I do not like to watch something where I'm trying to get information and the person that is giving the information is expressing their opinion about it while they're giving the information. That indicates to me that they want me to think like that too, right?
Of course.
And it's like,
instead of trying to give the information in a way that's just trying to educate or allow you to take it and think for yourself.
Allow me to disseminate the information on my own, and allow me to go through my own process to jump to my own conclusions. And when that's not done, I feel like insulted. Like Rachel Maddow, like that lady Rachel Maddow, like that's why I would never watch her. I watched her a couple times, and it's like even if what you were saying was right, or whatever the information is, like just being so snarky and just so like nasty about what you're talking about. Like, can I make up my mind for myself here? Like, why do I feel like I got like somebody that's just nasty telling me about something, like they want me to hate somebody else too because they hate them? Like, yo, bro, like, no.
Yeah. That happens all the time, and it's happened in life forever, even as a child. You go through it and you have gossip and all the stuff, and it definitely, everything has a piece of it. What you see on TV, when you scroll your phone, the different pictures that you see, memes, it all comes in and affects you in some way. And thinking critically is the ability to analyze the facts to form a judgment. It's not just about what you think, it's about how you think. How does that hit when you hear that?
Well, for me, I wonder, like, that's a good question. Like, the way I think is like, I try to like keep my conscience involved all the time and try to be mindful all the time. So it's like I'm entering stuff thinking how I should think, right?
So you've kind of trained yourself in a way, put like little boxes around to allow yourself to think properly. And that's really interesting because why critical thinking matters is in a noisy, fast-moving world, critically thinking acts as your mental filter. And that's what you're saying. You put a little box, a little filter around.
Yeah. And
what you let get
the
through.
only time it fails is when, like, you know, I might be in a conversation with my lady that turns into something else.
Where you get emotional.
And emotions get involved and I'm outside of my discipline.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It makes it more difficult to keep your discipline when you're dealing with a significant other.
Yeah, so critical thinking acts as your mental filter. It keeps you from blindly following trends, falling for propaganda, or being emotionally hijacked.
Can you read that one more time? That's a crazy one that you just said right there. That's a big can of worms you're opening.
Yeah, so critical thinking keeps you from blindly following trends, falling for propaganda, or being emotionally hijacked.
All right. Now we know this. Critical thinking is not for everybody.
Well, I think it could be.
Nope.
You're all happy because
Nope.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Because not everyone has the ability to do it.
Why not?
Well, I'm probably going to sound crazy to a lot of people right now, but I've done some research on this because this is just a subject that's been bothering me my whole life. It is said that 40 to 50% of human beings do not have what is called an internal voice, meaning they cannot hear their own thoughts in their head. They cannot have what is called an internal dialogue, right, which gives you the ability to make good decisions or not, right, which is the reason why many people are constantly being taken advantage of. These are also these people that are more apt to be naturally selected. That's why in that, I believe in God, I believe God makes no mistakes. Not all men are created equal, but different people have different gifts and different things like that.
Yeah.
And the internal voice is something that people who have it should realize that it is a gift. It's not for everybody. Not all men are meant to be kings.
Yeah.
If everyone had this ability to have this internal voice and to be a sharp thinker, I think a lot more people would be trying to get over on each other even more than they are now. And we'd be fighting. That's just my opinion. But so it's hard. It's hard to say that. That's a big one, you know, without taking that into consideration.
Yeah, so what's happening today, the rise of clickbait headlines that appeal to emotion instead of logic, right? So an example is, you won't believe what this politician just said. Uses emotional charge and exaggeration to lure views. And, you know, we have to do it. When we make our titles for the show, we got to make it in a way that attracts people to want to click it. It's the same kind of thing. So this happens even if your intent is to be a good person, all the things that you're trying to do, you still need to, you're a part of the world. Like our marketing has to use some of these things.
Yeah, so there's the aspect of attraction, and then there's the
there you go.
The aspect of capturing, and then there's the aspect of keeping.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know.
So AI generated content blurs the line between authentic and artificial. You know, this is all brand new, right?
Yeah, that stuff is crazy, bro.
I mean, we
There's
use
so
AI.
much of it. Yeah, but we don't use it like that.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, if you're not using it, like, how are you going to keep up in today's world where, you know, it helps you push more stuff out, generate more content?
Those people that have the ability to do it, though, I think they're going to shine through because of their level of authenticity.
Yeah, I think that's important.
And they're more intricate. More of their stuff comes from here.
Yeah.
So I believe those people are going to be the winners. When I say the winners, meaning AI is going to win, but they're going to be the boutiques that still exist.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
You still got to put your heart and soul into it. But, if, when they just came out with the 8-cylinder engine for the first time, or, whatever next level in any tech space, you got to move with it or else you get left behind. This talks about the next thing is media bias. And hyper-partisanship fuel echo chambers. So that's what you were talking about the lady, and I forget the name, but
Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, that she goes on there and rants and puts her stuff out there, and then whoever receives that literally becomes the same thing to the next person, ranting to them, and it creates this echo chamber where they all go around, and this is.
So as it's presented to you, this type of information in that manner, it does not leave much open for interpretation for you. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, it's going to leave you in that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I got to say here too, we're going through this, episode on critical thinking, and we're going to talk about different types of education to learn more about it, and then different logical fallacies, as well as search for truth in like a world where it's like post-truth. And a lot of this stuff, like Nathan and I are not the experts. We're doing this because we believe it's important, and we believe it's a foundation of how we should be as fathers and as humans, and to do our best and be a contribution in society. And we believe that this information and going through and learning about this ourselves, we're students here. And as we learn, it's part of the thing that we want to put out there to you.
Yeah, the objective of, while you're being a parent is to do a better job, than the generation before.
That's it.
And, we always want to do that. That's always the sentiment that we share, but we do not always have the tools to be able to do that, So we need the tools to be able to have the ability to want to do something like this. And that's basically one of the things that Anthony's saying there. That's, we're trying to, again, provoke thought, give you guys some things to think about, converse about, that'll hopefully make you better human beings like it's making us better human beings.
Yeah, and more aware of what's going on.
Yes, more conscious. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there is in our research, we saw there is a critical thinking framework. And the source is Paul and Elder in 2002. And it has elements of thought, right? And it says that you have a purpose, you have a question, you have information, then you have an interpretation of concepts, and then you create assumptions which have implications based on a certain point of view.
That's crazy that you're saying this right now. When I hear all this, you know what I think of? What word comes to my mind? Woke.
Why? Why does that come to your mind?
Because woke is the most mischaracterized word right now that's being used in the United States of America.
Really?
In my opinion, yes, because woke didn't come from what they're using it as. Woke was a term that was used in the black community for enlightened.
Yeah. It's like you see what isn't normally seen.
Yeah. Or used like, remember how I was telling you about sleep? Like you sleep, like meaning you don't want to take that opportunity. Oh, you sleep, I'm on that.
Yeah.
That type of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And
they took it and they flipped it and made it into something else.
There's people who are in the media that chose this word because of who it was tied to at that point in time and turned it into something else. They basically strawmanned the word.
So you're talking about
they built a caricature out of what they wanted it to be and made it apply to the word woke. And now woke is something that's a negative. There's a negative connotation behind the word woke without many people even knowing its origin.
Yeah, so what Nathan said about a straw man is essentially a logical fallacy, okay? And the straw man misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack.
And that's with that form of it, that's with bad intention, but you can also do it unintentionally.
Oh yeah, of course.
By like if somebody says something to you and you react to it without fully understanding it. So you're building a caricature out of what they're saying based on what you think it is that they're saying, and then you react to it. That's straw manning as well.
Yeah. So back to this critical thinking framework, there's intellectual standards as well. And those come with clarity, accuracy, precision, relevance, depth, breadth, logic, significance, and fairness, right? So you'll adapt a framework where you include the elements of thought and the intellectual standards and use it as a way to combat and increase your level of critical thinking. And there's different ways that you can use, different things that you could do that help this happen. So one of the things that you do to combat it is to pause before reacting. And I see you doing this all the time. You're actually like very good about this. It says the first step in avoiding manipulation is slowing down your emotional response. So take time to make a decision of how you make your next move.
Yep. That's something to be absolutely mindful of that, does not get lost when emotions get involved. I absolutely think more about being mindful and think a lot more about what I say before I speak on a normal basis than when I would in a situation that it's like a debate. You know what I mean? It all depends on the debate too, though. Like if I'm debating with my lady, that thought process is like out.
Yeah, it goes straight on the emotional side.
Yes.
Like if it's 1 to 100 and 100 is intellectual, and the opposite is emotion, is like shoot.
Yeah.
So another way to combat it is to seek evidence. Ask, what is the source? Can I verify it? And this doesn't necessarily mean that you need to, if you're talking with somebody, this is in your head, if you ask deeper questions of it, and a lot of people naturally do all these things, when you do different jobs, like you're an attorney, you make sure that you're thinking legally based on what you already know and your brain is trained, right? And you can ask probing questions. So who benefits from this narrative, right? That's what people are doing all the time with all the political based stuff.
And you better do that when somebody wants money from you.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about is,
Anthony didn't silence his phone. But yeah. Asking probing questions is definitely something that is a necessity. And if that's essentially the first part of the sniff test, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody naturally does this.
We don't even want to get to the point that we see something. Like we don't want to see anything yet. Like we don't want to. You understand where I'm coming from? We don't want to get to the point that we see something that we're like, oh no, no. Let's talk about this first. And see, the older people, that's why they got the patience and they be so smart. They just like, no, oh, let's just talk about this for a little longer.
Yeah, but they've learned to be patient in making decisions, and they call that being wise, in a lot of ways. But then also, the older people are the ones that have all the media bias.
Yeah, but that is a big part of that is so those people that we're talking about when they were kids, they used to go to somebody's house, like a whole bunch of people from their house and the neighbor, everybody would go to somebody's house to watch a TV because not everyone had televisions, right? TV was invented in their lifetime.
True.
Let's think about basics.
Yeah. Back to the basics.
Yeah,
man.
people. TV was barely invented in their lifetime. Before, literally before TV, they were only listening to the radio, dude. That's the only thing they had for news. There was no there was long distance calling was thought to be so expensive that people barely wanted to do it. There was no calling your brother in Florida.
Yeah.
Like daily to tap in. There was no daily tapping in with nobody. Bruh, people were writing letters, bruh. I remember writing letters when I was a kid.
I still do that today.
Yeah, I don't write letters, bro. I'm calling. If not, I'm pulling up. You know what I mean? But the ability, that's the benefit of technology. The benefit of technology is the speed of implementation of which we can reach out and communicate to people.
Yeah. So I would say hearing about the technology and the benefit of reaching out to people and being interconnected has made it a very global, interconnected world. It also is something to be said that, in a very short amount of time, have we went from as a human race, from being connected with each other, has gone extreme very fast.
100%.
And being in a day like today where now you have aspects of artificial intelligence and the ability that even the connection you may have may not even be a real human being.
All that stuff scares those older people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Any of the possibility of being frauded online and the internet is the internet, right? It's oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Remember, they didn't have TVs, bro, when they were born.
Yeah.
And then all that news that they had, it was influenced by the government. You know what I mean? Look, in World War II, Russia was our ally. After that, big bad Russia in America, that's what it was, right? So everybody was taught to fear Russia and all this, ooh. And that's what they grew up in. So they trust the news.
Yeah.
They think the news only tells the truth.
Well, it's hard to know what to trust, right? And that's where, this critical thinking really comes in, to think about these probing questions. Who benefits from the narrative? Who could be harmed by it? So who does it not benefit? Who's the attack on? What facts are there? What may be missing? And what's the counterpoint to what this is suggesting, right? Because there's always some kind of counterpoint, because your brain wants to, fill in the blanks without the proof. It naturally wants to fill in the blanks. So a lot of the messaging, the different things we see on TV, even things people say will, your brain will naturally fill in other blanks to try to figure it out.
The brain likes the path of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly.
The brain don't want to break itself if it could just get from A to B.
Yeah, coming in and thinking about truth, right? And is it objective or subjective? And objective information is based on verifiable facts and evidence, so that's objective, while subjective information is based on personal opinions, feelings, or interpretation.
I said suggestive earlier when I meant subjective. Okay.
Yeah.
Subjective.
Subjective. Yeah. And I think that people are genuinely in search of truth.
I think everyone does both.
Think objectively and subjectively.
I think everyone does both based on what it is that they're talking about and their attachment to it. It's all on, again, like, not everyone interprets everything the same way, right? So if you interpret something one way and I interpret something another way, who's right and who's wrong?
Neither's, yeah.
You see where I'm coming from? So that's why the truth itself is objective.
Yeah.
Because it all depends on who you ask.
Based on their
perspective. Yeah, because your truth might not be mine.
Yeah. That's kind of deep.
Yeah, and like, I've had discussions about this many times with people. People will have many arguments for this, but it's just like, dude.
Is this considered a philosophical conversation?
It would be considered a philosophical conversation.
Okay,
yes.
I'm learning these big words, and a lot of times
philosophy is opinion based.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be subjective.
Yes. Like I always say, politics is based on what? Ideals. It's based on something that how you think something should be, not how something is.
Yeah.
So all politics is based on ideals. All of it. Because not everyone feels the same about it. Not everyone's truth is the same. So while people will be getting mad about some people having their turn,
yeah,
we all gonna have our turn. We all have had our turn at some point in time. And it's all a part of the what? The balance. Like, yeah, people are crazy because they get so outside of the basic school of thought. Because this is fundamentals we're talking about here.
Yeah, so this goes back to at the very beginning when we're speaking.
The basic basics.
Yeah, of critical thinking. And being the net that kind of helps you make sure the crazy stays out. Yeah. In a way.
And again, not everybody has the ability. Hold on, let me get behind my mic. Not everybody has the ability again, right? Like not everybody can critical think, bruh. It's not for everybody. And see, there's some other people though that are conscious people that are in high places that'll tell you critical thinking is a bad thing.
Yeah, that it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Because critical thinking breaks down into other critical areas of other types of situations that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
and that's, my friend, when it becomes woke. You get me?
I actually don't. I don't
critical
because I'm starting to get lost a little bit, and I think this happens to a lot of people, where you start going down this road, and at some point, a lot of people go, "Whoa, dude, I just want to just live," and
but there's some people that just want the truth, and now you see where the divide is.
Yeah, because their truth is subjective to their.
But everybody thinks that there's a truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we have a problem.
So essentially, not everything is red or blue.
That's right. Not everything is the hard truth.
Or black or white or whatever.
Sometimes I try not to speak too definitively about certain things. I am always open to learning that I'm wrong. I hope that you can tell me that I'm wrong and I can learn something new today. You'll be giving me something that I didn't have when I woke up.
Yeah, I think all this critical thinking stuff is something that it seems like, just like anything else, something that you need to nurture. Just like your health, or you've been in the martial arts world for almost 40 years, right? And it's something that you've nurtured over time. And the same thing goes for your critical thinking. And if it's something that you haven't nurtured in a while, it doesn't mean that you can't.
Yeah, but it is like that though. It's like a muscle, bro.
That's what I'm saying. You got to get that muscle back working.
If you don't work it, then when you pull up the first time, you're gonna be a little with it. You know what I mean? And you're gonna have to work it. You're gonna have to work it back in, get it back going, because it's like, imagine being a person that has the ability to have these types of conversations, and you get put from one place to another place where you're surrounded by people that don't have that ability for a long period of time. And then you go back. When you go back, everybody's going to be like, damn, you changed. Something a little different. You got to tap back in. You got to tap back in the source and like get your game back up. You know what I mean? You got to be around those people, though. You got to surround yourself with like minds in order to be able to do that, or else you might be dumbed down by the people that surround you.
Yeah. For me, I've gone back to something that I used to do a lot. And it's have a morning ritual and an evening ritual, and just a way I start myself and a way I finish myself, knowing that in doing this every day, it's like, what do they call it? Your circadian rhythm, and how, with the moon, the star, the sun, and your body, with every time you sleep, you awake, and it's getting it aligned in a way that will allow every other piece to come together.
Yeah. That's why I wake up right before my alarm every day.
Yeah. Yeah. How many of our listeners do that too? I mean, come on, man. That's got to be the thing. I used to do it all the time. Now, not as much, and that's why I realized I need to go back.
Routine is key.
To keeping up that structure, and doing that also supports my level of critical thinking, because having that gives me the baseline of what is, grounded.
100%.
So there's a type of education it's in like an ancient blueprint, and I don't know too much about it, but I know one of my best friends, Alan Atkinson, he talks about this all the time, and he runs a Facebook group. It's the Probiotic Farmers Alliance.
Makes the best product in the world.
Yeah, he has a product called Grokashi, and he uses this group as a beta testing group, and as well as a group that is that he's been training the people within it to be critical thinkers.
I'm a member of the Probiotic Farmers Alliance as well.
Yeah, and so am I, and as well as over 30,000 other people around the world, and part of this group is he trains it with this. It's called Trivium education, and essentially it's an ancient blueprint and a way of essentially getting yourself to use critical thinking. And so one of the things that it does is it uses, it's with grammar, right? So the way people speak, right? And then that's based on your input and knowledge, because, someone speaks Spanish, I may not even understand it. And if I don't see them, it's just a voice. It's like, that's input, knowledge, nothing, and also logic and processing and understanding.
Dissemination.
Yeah, dissemination, a big key. And so essentially this Trivium education was developed in ancient Greece. And you may have heard of like these two main people that were a part of it, but Plato and Aristotle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see a lot of quotes, you know, and I don't have a quote
They're
of them.
both very famous philosophers.
Philosophers. Yeah. So it's a philosophy. Yeah. And it was systematized in medieval education is, you know, what it was, and foundation of classical liberal arts. You know, so all kids learn some form of liberal arts, you know. And who uses it today? Predominantly, it's taught in homeschoolers, classical academics, and some law schools and seminaries. There's also like corporate training programs that do this, and they show decision-making frameworks. And so the key principles are grammar and mastering the facts and language. And then the next one is logic, asking the right questions and identifying a fallacy. And then the third is called rhetoric, and it's expressing knowledge persuasively and ethically. So how you put it out there, make sure that you are doing it in an ethical way, but also persuasively. Essentially, making sure your point is being made.
That's interesting. I try to be less rhetorical when I converse with people. Like I'm trying to like be more straight, but I can see how that could be useful.
Yeah. Why it matters today is it gives people tools to analyze and communicate clearly.
Okay.
Which I think everybody kind of strives for.
I hope.
Yeah, I would. I mean, everybody, since you were a little kid and you wanted an ice cream, you learned to persuade, and, you know, you may have used your crying, which is the emotional, like was said earlier, to get a response, which sometimes works.
Trying to invoke or provoke a response, right?
Based on emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And so why this kind of matters today is it gives people tools to analyze and communicate clearly, and helps inoculate against manipulation, propaganda, and information overwhelm.
Try to give you more skills to pay the bills, you know?
More skill. Yeah. And so how to apply it today: use grammar to research and define terms properly. So, you know, as an adult.
Suggestive versus subjective?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You know.
And be open to it, right? Own it. Oh yeah, I guess that was wrong. Like, be out there with it. Don't be so like, you know, don't stand on nothing that's wrong, and don't, you know, be open and be vulnerable about stuff like that, because everybody deals with it the same way. Not everyone knows everything the first time. Not everyone says everything the right way every time. Not no one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like a definite learning thing for me, as, you know, being a dad, having a young lady for a daughter now. You know, she's 15 years old, and the aspect,
it's crazy.
Yeah, of her, she's smart. She's also like does debate, so she has a lot of this stuff. She has, but she also has not. You know, she's only 15. You know,
she just hasn't been around been around long enough yet.
Yeah,
just doesn't have the inputs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just hasn't built it yet.
And I'm finding that a lot of the struggles that she goes through, it relates to me, and then I get to implement something and do it with her, which is for her benefit, but also really for mine, because it's something that I lost track of in getting older and just You know,
something got lost
getting
in
bad
translation,
habits,
yeah.
or not nurturing the good habits is what it was. You know, and trying to get back to living my life where what I'm doing is nurturing the good habits.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Letting go of some of those bad ones and nurturing the good ones. And so, you know, using this kind of, you know, framework and critical thinking education and using it in your life does support in doing the same thing. You know?
And it enables you to be able to be in other types of situations outside of a social setting, you know, like in business or in anything in which you have to deal with people that are, you know, bigger people, you know, I don't know, for lack of a better word, you know, being able to present yourself well and, you know, be able to represent yourself well, be a well-spoken person, to come off as someone who's well thought out and considerate and all of these things. It's important. So that's the use, right?
Yeah, and of critical thinking stuff, there's something that, you know, a logical fallacy is something that happens constantly throughout everything you do. You read, you listen to people talk. It's things that you would consider to be true, but it's not necessarily the case, and different ways that people do these things to make it happen. Am I explaining?
I think this is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Because I only am holding on to the last word, fallacy.
Yeah.
It's still a fallacy. You could put any word which you would like in front of it, but it's still a fallacy.
Well, logical is essentially true.
Logical means
Using your brain.
Yeah, but logical doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
Let's look this up. Pull this up. This is a good one.
Okay.
This is something that we need to dig deeper.
Okay. Logical means of or according to the rules of logic or formal argument characterized by clear, sound reasoning or natural sensible given the circumstances. So it's not necessarily the truth, especially if you put it in front of a word like fallacy, right?
But it makes sense.
It can make sense.
And it's based on clear evidence, all that stuff.
Yeah, so a fallacy is a flaw or error in reasoning that makes an argument invalid, unsound, or weak, often resulting from faulty logic, misleading evidence, or irrelevant premises.
Yeah.
Premises. But so you understand where I'm coming from? It's like you can't decode fallacy with a word before it. You understand where I'm coming?
No, logical makes sense. Fallacy is something that even though
it makes sense.
You would think it makes sense. This is why it doesn't, because of the fallacy.
Yes.
So, for instance, the straw man, which you talked about before.
Yes.
It would make sense, but you're misrepresenting someone's argument to make it easier to attack. So, an example would be, he wants police reform, so he must hate cops.
Ooh.
That's a logical fallacy. Just because you want police reform doesn't mean you hate cops.
Right. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, and we got to watch out for that stuff. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
The logical fallacy is dangerous, dog.
Yeah. This is something that in Alan's
people
group,
will stand on those things, too, and they'll bamboozle you.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
They're unmoved because they could argue it, right? Another one is the ad hominem. It's attacking the person, not the argument. So an example of this would be, you can't trust her opinion on health. She's overweight. So you're attacking the person, not the fact that they know what the heck they're talking about. And the argument.
That's very interesting.
You know? I've seen that.
And that's an interesting example you chose too.
Again, you know, AI, thank you. Like puts it up there, right? How about appeal to emotion? So manipulating emotions instead of using valid reasoning. So an example, using sad animal footage to avoid discussing animal agriculture facts. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, look at these poor animals. And then it's like, well, these are the facts. It's like, but everybody feels like, oh, man, I saw that dog, like, you know.
Yeah. So what was it again? What was the last one you just did?
Appeal to emotion.
Appeal to emotion. All right. False dilemma. Presenting only two options when more exist. Ooh, you dirty little dog.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to like only just to lead you to believe that that's all there is.
It's so like
These
Democrat
are the only
or
options.
Republic.
These are the only options you have.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as anything else.
Yeah. Red or blue.
Yeah, that's
No
quite
orange.
wild. Example, you're either with us or you're against us. Well, damn, I thought those was my options anyway. Bandwagon fallacy. Everyone believes it, so it must be true.
This is the biggest one in parenting.
That might be the biggest one.
Everybody has a phone.
That might be the biggest one in America.
Everybody has Snapchat.
Bandwagon fallacy, mob mentality, all that rides in the same bucket.
Oh, yeah.
Example, all your friends vape. Why don't you? You like peer pressure.
You remember as a kid, it was like, well, if everybody jumped off the bridge, would you?
Right. Yeah, some people would jump off that bridge. The next one is slippery slope.
Oh, this is a good one.
Arguing one small step leads to disaster. Like doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Example, if we allow this law, soon we'll have no freedoms left. Yo, this AI is crazy with those things that it's choosing because there are all these...
I mean, this is a big topic. Of
controversy, brother.
Controversy all over. Well, but remember, a logical fallacy is where it makes perfect sense, but when you're doing it in this context, it's irrelevant. This is not, but that's where in the world today, you need to use your critical thinking because those headlines come up. All the people, you know, saying all the things they say, the way you're manipulating, how you need to see through this stuff. And these are some of the fallacies that happen to allow you to see this is, take that out of the equation. Think critically.
Yeah, consolidate that, right? Makes sense. Circular reasoning. The conclusion is in the premise. Example, I'm right because I said so. Right? I'd be like, I know what I said because I was there when I said it.
Oh man, that's a good one. Every parent has done this at some time because I said so.
Yeah, I do. I'll be doing this sometimes.
And it's just like, it's basically just like it's over.
Because part of it for me is it's like the kids don't know what they need.
Yeah.
They just think they know what they need.
Yes.
So in some instances, it's like, just listen. Like, I don't want to go through a process. Just like, listen, just shut up and just, because I said so. You know what I mean? Because I'm your dad. That's why.
Yeah.
So like, everything is why. You know, and that's understandable. When they're young, they need to learn, you know, so everything is why. But there comes a point with certain things you're like, bro, just do what I told you to do, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Some things you let it go because there's learning and there's growth and making your own decisions and seeing the consequences in some of these things, you know.
Yeah.
But others, it's like, because I said so.
Yes.
Because I'm your dad.
Yes.
You know?
Appeal to authority. Relying on experts rather than facts.
Oh, so being like, because this guy said so.
Yeah, people are followers, bro. I mean, everybody doesn't have the ability to think for themselves, bro.
So is thinking for yourself thinking critically?
Having an internal dialogue is thinking critically.
That's a good answer.
If you don't have the ability to do that, that's what I'm saying. This critical thinking is not for everybody.
It's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and like,
my head hurts a little
for
bit.
those people who are watching this that don't believe what I'm saying, you know somebody. You've known people in your life that are acquaintances of yours, maybe friends, maybe family members, that there's certain places that when you go, you do not want to bring them with you.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Because of, it seems as though they don't think about what they say before they say it. You know who I'm talking about. And
I got deja vu. Have you said that here before?
there's people that, because they don't have this ability.
The internal voice.
Yeah, but they're judged away. They're judged by everybody else because they think that they're just an idiot. Or they are whatever label that they would like to label them. That they don't think before they speak. Hey, that's true. But that's about it. That's about the long and short of it. You know, that person that it seems like you don't want to take them to your mother-in-law's house. You don't want to take them around certain type of coworkers. You don't want to take them around the boss. You don't want to take them around certain type of people because they're going to embarrass you because you know they're going to say something that you perceive to be stupid or that they didn't think about or offensive or something of this nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys go do your research on that. There's not nearly enough data surrounding it, but there's a few places that have done some research on it. But in my opinion, it's something that impacts humans every day that not nearly enough humans know about. We got to have more patience with each other, guys.
Yeah, your internal voice.
Yeah.
So another one here is they call it a hasty generalization.
Ooh, I'm guilty.
Yeah, I think everybody is in some
guilty,
ways,
bro.
at least in saying these things. Drawing conclusions from limited data. An example would be, I met one rude New Yorker. They're all rude.
That is one.
New Yorkers aren't all rude, bro.
That's true, but I think like a lot of times I catch myself with that hasty generalization when it comes to stereotypes.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's truth in stereotypes. There's truth in them. Doesn't mean they're all true.
There's a little bit of truth in everything.
It doesn't mean that they apply to everyone either.
Yeah.
But they are what they are. They're there. And they're there for a reason.
I don't know. This is one that I'm like, I'm not touching.
Don't be scared, dog. Don't be scared now.
That one
You riding shotgun, bro. You ain't gonna jump out while the car's moving, dog. Yeah. So red herring. Distracting from the real issue.
This happens all the time.
Yeah.
Let me take you off over here instead of allowing you to.
I get accused of this.
I had an ex-fiance that was her deal.
I get accused of this because I'm not I'm not always. I might have to paint a picture to see the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like I might not have the fastest route to get to somewhere, so it might seem like I'm. Like, just wait a second. Like I'm gonna get there. Like,
yeah, that's totally different though than why worry about pollution when there are people starving. There's people starving, bro. You can litter. There's people starving.
So this is probably one of the most common things in the red herring.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest thing out there.
So
it's distract you from focusing on whatever this like, is to put it over there.
It's just so disrespectful though, like on the note of like you're wanting to talk about something and they're just like, or it's just, there's many different ways it can apply. That's nasty.
Yeah. So in an example is you have an agreement with your lady that you're going to go on this vacation to this destination. And and she really doesn't want to go. Right. So every time you're like trying to like further the conversation, she goes, "Oh, I gotta go and do laundry," and dips out. It's like, dude, I'm trying to talk about this trip.
Right.
Like, we gotta get it. And by the end, it's like, oh, the trip never happens because she pulled the red herring move on you.
She got you, brother.
Got you. You know?
That's wild.
Yeah. So some of these things here that are happening in the world, you know.
A lot of terms that we're hearing that, you know, not everyone is knowledgeable of. And these are like really current terms that are being used. Like, I don't remember hearing any of these. Well, bias and culture, yes, but like some of these I don't remember hearing when.
Yeah, so manufactured consent is a term coined by Noam Chomsky. Media is used to shape public opinion in favor of elite interests, is what he says. An example would be media consensus pushing war narratives without challenge. Or some deepfakes, AI-generated fake videos that look real. So, like a president giving a fake speech, right? But it looks real, but it's not really real.
Or like that thing where they do those, like they put like regular people's heads on other people's bodies and make horns.
Yeah, for sure.
That stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all those things.
That's deep fake.
Echo chambers, online communities where dissenting views are silenced. So if you're talking about something that opposes what your overall thing is, you silence it. Your overall message and your agenda.
Isn't that happening on like Twitter? Isn't that happening on X right now? Didn't like it is so is that an example like
it's happening all over the place in groups and in different social media platforms everywhere. It's a part of everything. I mean, you go into, you know, your neighborhood group and people are doing it in some way because they don't want to talk about certain things, you know? And yeah, it's overwhelming in my head, all this stuff going on, because even though we've done some research, we've tried to start learning more about it, it's hard to fully understand it all.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and how it
all these different applications of it too.
Yeah, how it works in your life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then there's all these different biases in culture, like confirmation bias, believing what confirms your own beliefs. So you only read sources that agree with things you agree with.
Yeah, that's not me.
I see that happening all the time. Like a certain news station will only have a certain type of view, you know?
It's hard to be objective for some people when it comes to certain stuff, especially like religion, for example.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like my spirituality is crazy. It's huge. It's all over the place. But I find contradictions in any, you know, I can find contradictions in any of that stuff, you know. If you, like, you know, as a kid, you know, there's certain things that we learn that we begin to question when we get older as adults, that we think we see things clearer, we think something is, might or might not be the truth, and we begin to question things, and that sends us down these paths and down these journeys that, ultimately turn us into who we are, make us truth seekers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, that's for sure. And what I have learned, at least a little bit about doing this segment, is that there's a lot to it.
Oh, there's a lot to it, and this is not it.
Yeah,
We're going back. We're gonna be back at this because this is an ever expanding thing, and it's also something that is evolving based on
constantly.
all of the things that are going on, based on time, and like there's a lot that influences this stuff.
Yeah, and for me, going into this and doing the research, then coming up here and speaking on it's like, again, we're not experts in this. I do know an expert. Shout out to Daniel Friedman of the Active Inference Institute and Cognitive Security, Davis Cognitive Security. He's the guy that could answer any questions related to all this stuff, decision making, and all the different frameworks of why things are made, and so I have had the pleasure of getting to know him and having some of this stuff being put in front of my face so I could start understanding it. But it's a lot, and it affects everything. The way what comes in through your eyes, your ears, all the different people around you, all the different marketing stuff on TV, on everywhere you go.
The difficulty is to, again, remove yourself and your personal stuff that comes with you from it to be able to figure it out, right? Like, don't be influenced by it based on something that you want.
Based on something you want? So you have a confirmation bias where you're like, this is the thing that I want, so anything that gets me towards that is what I will allow to be influenced?
That's what I don't want.
Yeah.
Yes. That is, I think, common.
I'm sure it was one of them.
Yeah.
It was one of them.
See, when our studio's built, if you can get Daniel Friedman on as a guest, I'd love to have him on. He sounds like a very interesting individual.
Oh, man, he's the smartest. He's the smartest. He interviews on Active Inference YouTube the smartest and brightest people in all industries, and these are the thinkers and the ones that do scientific papers and very doctorate level everything, and it's based on,
like, you mean like scholars of the highest eminence?
Yes, that's what. Scholars of the highest eminence.
Right on.
Yeah. And so I try to put myself around these people as much as I can because I know I'll get smarter, even though, got a long ways to go. The quest for more education and continual growth.
Thirst for knowledge, yes.
Thirst for knowledge, that's something that I'm after. And, so this is part of it.
Right on, man.
Now that we've, man, that was deep stuff, Nate.
Yeah, but again, we're going to revisit this, man, because there's a lot more to talk about within that. Man, listen, though. We're going to double back on the boy Yeezy, man. This boy Kanye, stay into it, man. Stays into it. Police called to Kanye West's office in L.A. A swastika was recently painted on the side of Kanye West's HQ in Hollywood, and it comes in the aftermath of him posted anti-Semitic comments on X via Daily Mail. And this is in Los Angeles, California. And this article, I want to thank this person, Bishal Roy, wrote this article. And also shout out Britpop News. That's the source of this information. A few hours after the symbol was spotted, a man tried to remove the swastika, and the police were called to the scene. Hours later, it was seen covered up with gray paint. However, the faded outline of the shape was still visible. The building was purchased by Kanye West in March 2003 and has largely been left empty while construction work takes place. Recently, Kanye West has also faced a backlash for his anti-Semitic slurs he made on the social media website X. Posting on the site, Kanye said, "I love Hitler and I'm a Nazi," resulting in him being dropped from his talent agency earlier this year.
Yeah, so essentially, his office that was in LA, someone just went and put a swastika on there.
I don't know about that. I saw the picture of it. It looked kind of like nice, like it was like he probably
they're actually hooking him up.
I'm trying to say, like he might have paid somebody to start a mural or something. For all we know, we don't know what the hell Kanye got going on.
So to me, it's the opposite. This swastika was put on there, which is literally Yeezy's. That's on his T-shirt,
and it's facing the right direction.
Oh, is his T-shirt is facing that direction?
Yeah.
Is that the way the Nazi sign is?
No.
The Nazi sign's the other direction.
Yes.
Okay, so that's something. That's something.
Yeah, he misrepresenting himself even. Yay, if you're going to do this, turn the swastika the other way on your shirts. If that's
but that's the trip up. No, but he always does that.
I'm just saying, like, this is from me to Ye. Like, if that's what you represent, Ye, flip the swastika the other way because you look like you don't know what you do, like you don't know what you're doing to educated people. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So, but why you're saying that is because the swastika this way is like the ancestral, over thousands of years. It means good fortune. It means luck. It means
prosperity.
Prosperity. It means togetherness, uniformity. It means all these amazing positive things is the way that he's done it. And the Nazis did it the other way. But from what it reads is that he's saying he's a Nazi. Kanye actually himself says he's a Nazi.
That's what he's saying.
He's saying he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I guess not understanding that he wouldn't be accepted by any real Nazi, any real neo-Nazi, any of that stuff. Like, the Nazi party wasn't pro-black, brother. Like you wildin'.
Yeah, but still, it's the other way. So maybe he's not trying to actually do it all that level.
Man,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think he knows what he got going on, brother. Like, I know. Look,
I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He's creating controversy, which is what he's very good at.
Yeah, but
and that sells apparently T-shirts, shoes.
People are buying
all this stuff.
Like, look, I don't think people are buying these Nazi shirts, bro.
Well, he's making money somehow.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, he's still at such a high level of talent when it comes to production that, like, I'm sure there's a ton of people that are like, I'm still using Ye for that. Like, I don't care what he got going on. He still is one of the best that has ever produced.
He's still relevant.
In that arena, though.
I don't know. He's all over the news, bro.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, let's not forget where this guy came from and what he is, like, where he gets his money from. Like, his music is his jam, bro.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah. Like, not just hip hop. Kanye works all over the place when it comes to music, bro.
Yeah. So the other checking back in on
that guy.
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy. Brother Elon.
Yeah, so this is Fortune. Shout out to Fortune and Eleanor Pringle. One guy making anti-Musk stickers for Tesla cars. So stickers to put on Tesla cars is what he is what his target ideal customer.
I probably seen it and didn't know
images.
That was it. Do they look like the California clean air stickers?
I'm not sure, man. That's one thing that didn't have it. It's not like they allowed this wasn't an article that he created to sell more stickers.
Right.
But I'm sure this article is going to help him sell more stickers.
Yeah, everybody gonna be looking for it for sure.
Yeah, so it says he's making $100,000 a month by selling these stickers for Tesla cars, right? Yeah, it says as Tesla CEO Elon Musk comes more politically entangled, some Tesla owners are distancing themselves from him by purchasing anti-Musk bumper stickers. So they still own the Tesla, they still own the car, they be mobbing the car.
Y'all ain't standing on nothing like that. Y'all stop that, man. That's why I've been saying people be so halfway in, halfway out. Y'all all know you don't stand on nothing. Nobody sees that little ass sticker on there.
Well, yeah, they do. I mean, I see so many Teslas. There ain't stickers on, aside from the California stickers like you're saying, like all the Teslas look exactly the same. Like every once in a while you'll see one that has a slight modification.
Yeah, people don't even understand this though. Like, cause like all over the country, you know, we got more Teslas here than anywhere in the country, right? And it's like we have so many, dude. Like a unique Tesla is like a wrapped Tesla. Like there's not much to it. Like they got a couple people out there that are making kits for them. They look pretty tough, but like not nearly enough people have them. There's just these plain Jane Teslas running around everywhere. Except for my dog. You know who got a dope one? My dog, Sensei Carlos Rocha. He got a dope one though. His put together though.
Well, what's different about his?
He just got the right accessory. He got the right accessories on it. It looks right. It's low. It's just it looks nice, bro. It's two-tone.
Two-tone.
Yeah,
okay.
He got the bottom is red. The top is black. It's fresh. Yeah, it's fresh, bro. He got the feet on it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it is. He hating on you, Sensei. You see him already questioning what I'm talking about your Tesla. You're going to see him soon, though. Don't worry about it.
It's just, don't wrap me up in a pretzel, please. I will break. I tap. I tap.
I tap now.
I tap. I pre-tap.
Yeah, man.
So we've been talking about digging into some of these figures that you've been around in your bodyguarding and in 10 years of your life. You were in the entertainment industry, bodyguarding all these different people and clubs, Miami, New York, all over the place, private jet life, the whole thing, and have all kinds of different stories that at some point are going to come out as we start talking. So we're going to start like bringing in some of these other characters as well. And this one is related to, it says it's inside a leaked jail call, Diddy and Kanye under fire, right?
Hey, is it just me? Can anybody answer this for me that's watching this? Is it just me? If you know anything, say it in the comments if you notice the same thing. But does anybody notice since Diddy got busted that a whole lot of people in hip hop been getting busted?
Oh, I've seen that.
Like a whole lot of people that are like putting stuff in music, saying stuff in interviews and stuff like that. It's like, it seems like the feds are like faster to jump on this stuff right now and just snatch people up off the streets. Like I'm noticing, like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But if somebody else could shed some light on that, because man, these guys are, man, all these guys down in LA, Chicago, everywhere, all this stuff's just happened all of a sudden now. I don't know. And the crazy thing, again, Diddy got the craziest situation I ever seen. I never seen anybody get RICO'd and have to fight a RICO case by themselves.
Yeah, I thought that literally means a bunch of people interacting with each other based on common,
Yeah, man.
So
I don't know what they got going on with Diddy, man, but Diddy's caught up. They saying Diddy, they saying he's already like telling people that he's gonna make a comeback, that he ain't worried about it and all this. Look, Diddy might not never come back. Talking about making a comeback, we might not ever see this boy again. Like, look,
I thought he's in prison, right?
Listen, Diddy better take the deal.
You're talking a lot. Let's watch the video, bro. This is in stars right here.
revelation that has rocked the entertainment world, a leaked prison phone call between Sean Diddy Combs and Kanye West has ignited new controversies ahead of Diddy's impending trial. Recorded without Diddy's knowledge while he is detained, the conversation captures him urging West to reconnect with his musical career, underscoring his isolation from Hollywood peers. As Diddy's legal woes intensify amid serious allegations, including human trafficking and racketeering, prominent figures in the industry are distancing themselves amid mounting criticism. Legal experts, while skeptical of the call's evidentiary value, suggest it vividly illustrates Diddy's precarious standing and foreshadows the tumult that may unfold during his trial.
So it sounds like, if that's the truth, it sounds like Diddy tried to give Ye some good advice. Like, bro, stop alienating yourself from the world and like being crazy, bro. Go tap in, bro. Like, what are you doing? Start making music again. Like, get it together.
Yeah, and so it seemed like there was a little, clickbait stuff on that.
Yeah.
Basically, like, because you got Kanye, who's all over the news right now, Diddy, who's all over the news, connected them together. It's like, who's not gonna click on this thing?
I just want to say this, man, about Diddy. Everybody hears about all of these people that are coming forward and trying to sue Diddy and, all these other things that are happening, that have happened with people that were celebrities that were under him and people that were in the industry that are under him. What nobody is taking under consideration is this. South Beach is very small. South Beach is not Miami. Everybody thinks South Beach is Miami. South Beach is Miami Beach, right? It's very small. South Beach itself is like 20 blocks, 20 blocks long, bro, literally. And there's people in Miami. Miami's a poor city. Miami doesn't have money like that. You see the satire of South Beach. You see all the people coming from everywhere spending money on South Beach. But like in the city of Miami, there's all these other small cities that, people don't have money like that. There are people that are locals from Miami that have been taken advantage of by this guy for certain. You're not hearing about these people. These are people that are regular people that like look up to, that idolize celebrities, right? Mm-hmm. That didn't grow up with homeboys that like Diddy, that didn't grow up around people with money, right?
Yeah.
And that when they end up meeting a character like this, and he knows the lore that he has with these people, these people get taken advantage of. And like there's a lot of that's going to be coming out as well. Like more normal people that are outside of the industry that were just around, just happened to meet bro through whoever and whoever. Like this guy was in Miami for a very long time.
Yeah.
When I first met this dude was, I think, 2003 or 4. When he first moved back to Miami. At the time, I was bodyguarding J-Lo. This guy used to take a boat from his house on Star Island to the back of J-Lo's house. He was madly in love with this girl.
Wasn't she with Ben Affleck at that time?
That is exactly what was going on at that time. And while she was engaged to Ben Affleck, Mark Anthony also used to come over to the house while Ben Affleck wasn't home.
They're friends.
Yeah. That's baby daddy now. And imagine that, like, Ben Affleck, man, probably don't even remember me. I didn't spend much time around him, but the time I did spend around him, he was really cool and like normal dude. Like, I remember he drank like Dr. Brown's cream soda or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Normal dude, cool dude. And yeah. We're gonna get into that other situation, that one right there. We're gonna get into that one later. But yeah, Diddy, man.
It seems like, so this specific article where they're putting Diddy on the phone with Kanye, it does sound like he was trying to be positive, telling him to go after his stuff. But also, it's kind of like, Diddy was very influential as well.
He was the top. He was one of the top two, right? It was a race to see who was become a billionaire first between him and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z won.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So essentially, given Kanye, go for it is Kanye going out there, and he's using all this to get definitely in the news. I mean, this guy's on the top of every, TMZ, blah blah blah, all the different publications.
Yeah, but what he's doing is like at this point, like they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity, but like the consecutive things that he's done is devaluing his brand significantly. It's absolutely insane. Like that's why I'm sure this guy's telling him, "Hey, go back to music." It's like, yo, people love your music, bro. Like
that's probably why.
Like just stick with that, bro.
Stick
like,
with that. Stop doing all this other
that'll
craziness.
probably be some good therapy for you in doing that because you love it. You know what I mean? You over here trying to chase this bag with clothes and all this. Like, this guy's history, Kanye's history with he was an employee of the Gap back in the day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he talks about it in the song. He talks about how the Gap kept him in the back of the store until black people came in and then they wanted to use their token Blackie. And then he said, "We love Kanye, da da da." So he talks about that. He talks about how he used to steal from the Gap as well because they didn't pay him enough money. Yeah, and life came full circle for him. He started selling his clothes in the Gap. You see what I'm saying? And then what did he do? He worked himself out of that situation. Life comes full circle, don't it?
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Santana, little nephew. He's a model for the Gap. And I see him all the stuff.
Marie's son.
No, Steffi.
Steffi's son.
Yeah.
All right, right on. Shout out Steffi and Marie, man. That's what's up.
Yeah, Santana's he's the best, man. He's great energy, big smile. He's got the best hair in the world.
Oh, right on.
He's got the best hair in the world. And
got that good biracial stuff going on.
Yep, for sure, man.
Right
for
on.
Sure. This other article here from the Music Times, Diddy, and this was Rovlin Barbara. Diddy reportedly gears up for major comeback to reclaim his throne despite all the charges. So he's essentially thinking he's going to get out of all this stuff.
He's out of his mind. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, this guy's going to do some time, bro. This guy's going to do. The Fed's got a 95% conviction rate. Yeah, he can afford the best lawyers in the world, but guess what? Good luck, Diddy. You have a lot of, look, the thing is he's taken advantage of a lot of people over a long period of time. Bro, as much as you think you know what you're up against, you have no clue. No clue. And they want him to work. They want him to talk. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that they want to know about, a lot of other people that did a lot of other stuff that they want to know about. They want to have stuff on people. You see what I'm saying? They ain't looking to take everybody in. They looking to have stuff on people so they can see what else they can get into. Yeah. That's how they work.
Yeah. Well, it says that Diddy recently achieved a legal victory when a judge dismissed 5 claims from a $30 million sexual assault and harassment lawsuit brought by music producer Rodney Lil Rod.
Lil Rod, yeah.
Lil Rod Jones.
Lil Rod has a crazy interview. He came out and said some crazy stuff that he's seen, man. And crazy stuff that Diddy tried to say Diddy might have did something to him or something, man. And again, man, it's just too much. And again, like I don't necessarily believe this article. You have to be a damn fool to think that because you beat a civil case that you would have any kind of confidence from that going into your criminal case against the feds. There's no way in the world.
Yeah, that's kind of understandable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's two different things altogether.
And the feds got, again, 95% conviction rate. What's the conviction rate in Japan again? It's 99, right?
I don't know.
I think in Japan they have I think Japan has a 99% conviction rate, brother.
Whoa.
Yeah, you look that up when you get a chance.
That's some crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on here, the sea lions. So we got 2 different sea lion little things, right? And of these sea lion stuff, there's one where it's a crazy sea lion, and there's one where it's the most amazing sea lion in the world.
Sea lion's a hero.
Yeah, sea lion, a hero sea lion. So back to the whole like how this is, the critical thinking, right? We have sea lion saves a life. Okay. Apparently there's this guy and he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. He was in a bad place mentally and he was going to unalive himself. But a day of reflection and renewal happened after jumping off and being saved by a sea lion.
That's absolutely insane. And like I have personally seen a couple people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. I used to fish beneath the Golden Gate Bridge at Fort Point with my dad all the time. When I grew up, fishing was a big part of my life. There's not many weekends that we weren't fishing. If we had an opportunity to fish, we were fishing.
Yeah, the Golden Gate Bridge.
And this was before they put the thing under. They have that safety
Now they got a
thing.
safety net.
Yeah, and that safety net, if you land on that safety net, you're going to be hurt too because it's made of like steel cables. It's wicked.
Oh.
Yeah, and to make you not want to jump on it again. But before this thing, yo, bro, the sound that you will hear when somebody hits the water
Smacks.
is so loud. Yeah, but it echoes under the Golden Gate Bridge, bro. It echoes through there, bro. It's like deafening, bro. It's loud, bro. Like you feel the vibration, bro.
So you've been there as this happened?
Yes.
Multiple times?
Bro, multiple times. Look, so right now, 4 Point, right? When you go to 4 Point, right now there's a fence. When you get towards the side of the building, that fence used to not be there. You used to be able to go to the back of 4 Point. We used to fish on the back of it. And that's where they used to like to jump off right there.
Wow.
Yeah. They used to like to jump off right there.
Well, this guy.
Next time you see my dad, ask him.
Okay, I will.
More times, trust me. A lot of people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, but they don't like to put it on the news because they don't want more people to do it.
Understood, but it's the number one place in the world for people to jump off.
Well, there you go. See? A lot of people jump, like I said.
Yeah. It says, on a day that seemed like any other, Kevin Hines found himself grappling with overwhelming personal challenges at the Golden Gate Bridge. As he descended, it just fast tracks. As he descended into the icy embrace of the waters below, an immediate pang of regret consumed him, but destiny had a different plan. A sea lion, sensing his distress, approached with purpose.
That's crazy.
The marine mammal circled Kevin, gently nudging him, ensuring he remained afloat until timely arrival of the rescuers.
And you know the water there is over a couple 100 feet deep when you get off the shore, like between those columns of the bridge. It's insane. And what's the other one?
Yeah, so the other one. So this is a critical thinking test, right? After this, we're gonna figure out if sea lions are good or evil or what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is this?
Okay, so this next one is a little video here.
Poisoned by toxic algae, causing them to act in a way some describe as demonic.
So wait, he just said that the sea lions are being poisoned by toxic algae. And because of that toxic algae, that the sea lions are being poisoned, they're becoming demonic.
It's having a mental issue. They're turning into something else.
It turned into like zombie-like things.
Damn.
It comes amid a surge in the number of sea lions ingesting domoic acid, a neurotoxin within algae blooms, through the fish they eat. The toxin can cause them to have seizures, become lethargic, or abnormally aggressive.
It's foaming at the mouth.
It's like rabies.
Bit him and dragged him off his board, adding, "It was unlike anything I've ever seen in all the years I've been in the water." Marine biologists say the toxic algae bloom that usually forms every 4 to 7 years is forming more often due to warming
Because when it gets hot, yeah, the water gets warm.
Now we're seeing an increase. Over the last 4 years, we've seen consecutive years of this harmful algal bloom off of our coast.
The Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro has taken in at least 146 sea lions since last month.
Damn.
That's a lot.
Also falling ill. This algae bloom, already described as worse than the one in 2023, blamed for more than 1,000 sea lion deaths.
Wow.
What do experts say? Do your part to create a better environment for marine life.
We know that we've changed our ocean.
All right.
All right. So after seeing both of these, articles, one that shows like that this is the algae bloom for however it's happening is creating these sea lions to become sick. For sure, it seems like they're sick.
Man, listen, I recommend that till this thing blows over, that if y'all want to do some activities in the water, y'all stick to the lakes, because this sounds like this is just starting. This sounds a little crazy.
This sounds crazy.
And we don't know what else is going to be impacted by this, and we hope it's going to be nothing.
Yeah, but if you do go there, there's at least one really awesome sea lion out there.
Yeah.
That'll get your back.
Let me ask you something. Where'd you get that fresh ass T-shirt from, player?
Oh, this is the poker gods. I just recently went on a podcast. Mm-hmm. It was actually the first one that ever got created. It was, I believe it ended up being like the test run.
Shout out poker gods.
Yeah. Casey Orr, who's a fellow poker player, someone I've known for a few years. He's going down the road of creating a whole new studio-based option for poker players to build their poker brands.
Okay.
And so each poker player, to get in these tournaments, it costs a lot of money to get in. And people may not know, but there's a whole market for selling out pieces of your action, right? And Poker Gods is special because it allows the poker player to be in a filmed final table where they're with other poker players, to be able to capture the hands, and they produce video and content for their social media platform. So a key thing about poker players is that they play poker all the time. They're very passionate about playing. And most of them are known by their friends as like the people that play poker. But not many have made it to like a final table of the World Series of Poker or the World Poker Tour, or one of the other big events, right? Where it's televised so that others can see them play. This is an option for poker players to go and get a bunch of footage because it's all set up with the hands and everything, just like as if you were on the World Poker Tour. And then you play in a game. You end up leaving with, whatever, success you had in the game, and have the experience as well as all the content to be able to show on it. Okay. And he has a heads up podcast that I was able to be the first one to go on and play him heads up and test out all the cameras and see how the whole system worked. And I think he's on to something.
That's dope. When he gets that running good, we're gonna make sure everybody knows about Poker Gods, man. Send them over there.
I think it'd be a lot of fun to go on Poker Gods and have, most people know how to play Texas Hold'em, and have a bunch of our friends, a bunch of our people show up there, play in a game, have it be the Gambler and the Guardian, episode where we get to play poker. And, you'll see in the end, it'll be like who bluffed who made the moves, all the different stuff that happens, and it's all recorded. So you end up having a YouTube episode.
That sounds like a dope experience. Right on. I want to thank you, man, for coming and joining me up here again. Thank everyone in our audience for sitting with us, spending the time. If anything that you guys have that you would like us to cover topic-wise, please leave it in the comments.
On that's something that I definitely want to put through to everybody. We recently have been getting a bunch more comments. I was kind of the approach of don't read the comments. They'll make you go crazy. And Nathan was of the approach of, man, we got to talk to our audience.
Now we want to hear it.
We got to be connected with our peeps. And through the process, there's been a few, most of the comments he's been able to respond to. And then there's some that he was like, bro, I ain't touching this one. It's on you, and you got to do it. So it kind of forced me to get into it. And you know what? I really enjoyed it, actually. And I enjoyed having a couple of the different interactions that I was able to have, even one that turned out like shots were fired basically. And it was like, could have responded, and it was a lesson in, being great, I got like, hated on because my glasses like reflect
Some
or
weird,
whatever. And it was like, but
some non-human comment, but
but
again,
no, it was great. It left the opportunity.
oh
for
no,
me
that's
to
right.
say,
That was cool though. I remember now.
yeah, for me to say, hey man, I want a eyeglass sponsor, man. What's up? Bring them.
Right.
Yeah.
But yep. Again, thank you guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. And see you guys next time.
We out.
That boy John got to push out.